Good evening and Salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching Malaysia Tonight with me. I'm Jessica Lee. In our top stories, Agro Madani sales offering items at a cheaper price with discounts. Teko Nasional disburses more than 8 billion ringgit in micro loans since its establishment. The Agriculture and Food Security Ministry has organised the Agro Madani sales program that offers items at a cheaper price compared to the local markets. Minister Datuk Sri Mamasabu said the program is a pilot project conceptualised based on selling goods at reasonable prices to help ease the financial burden of the people. Datuk Sri Mamasabu today launched the sales program at Kampung Johan Setia in Klang. According to the minister, the initiative through the Federal Agricultural Marketing Authority of Pharma would be expanded to 9 other locations in Selangor and Kuala Lumpur. He explained that among the focus areas are retail outlets of agencies under the ministry, people's housing projects, residential areas, urban poor areas and the suburbs.
Kita nampak sambutan daripada rakyat begitu amat menggalakkan, terutama ayam. Kerana kita tahu dijual di sini dengan harga yang murah lah. Ini salah satu cara untuk kita mengurangkan sedikit bebanan golongan B40 dan M40, terutama dalam nak menyambut Hari Raya dan juga sepanjang Syawal nanti.
Through the program, he said commodities sold are expanded to include fresh produce and control items with 10 to 30% discount for selected products. He added the ministry is targeting to generate around 150,000 ringgit in sales through 10 series of the program. Now, claims that the airfare for the Kuala Lumpur-Tawau route on the 20th of April hit 3,138 ringgit for an economy class ticket are inaccurate. The Transport Minister, Anthony Loke, said he contacted Malaysia Airlines Berhad, or MAB, Group Chief Executive Officer Captain Izam Ismail, and was informed about discrepancies in the facts involved. In a statement, Loke said Captain Izam has confirmed that all economy class tickets for the Kuala Lumpur-Tawau flight on that day have been sold out and there are only business class tickets left. He said Captain Izam also confirmed that the ticket price as claimed is not for economy class but for the business class and that the price is actually over 2,000 ringgit instead of 3,138 ringgit. Now, Loke said this is to clarify former Transport Minister Datuk Sri Wee Ka Siong's claim that the ticket price for the economy class flight from Kuala Lumpur to Tawau on the 20th of April was priced at over 3,000 ringgit and therefore too expensive. He also revealed that he will hold a press conference tomorrow at the Transport Ministry to provide additional facts on flight capacity for this year's Aidilfitri celebrations. Now, Muslims in the country are advised not to be influenced by the news that the first day of Shawwal in some foreign countries will fall on Friday. Now, Perak Deputy Mufti Datuk Zamri Hashim advised Muslims to wait for the announcement of the keeper of the ruler's seal on the date of Hari Raya Aidilfitri on the evening of 20th of April. According to Datuk Zamri, the date of Aidilfitri in Malaysia would be decided based on Ikmanur Ruqya, or the possibility of sighting the Shawwal new moon, which depends on observations that would be conducted on the 20th of April. Now, the State Deputy Mufti also said that the public should not be influenced by the sources from foreign countries as the size and age of the moon vary. The date for the sighting of the new moon of Shawwal is set for Thursday, 20th of April, or the 29th day of Ramadan at 29 selected locations nationwide. Tenaga Nasional Berhad or TNB will be mobilising a total of 9,400 employees throughout Peninsular Malaysia to ensure stable electricity supply during the Hari Raya Aidilfitri festive season. Now, TNB Chairman Dato' Abdul Razak Abdul Majid said rostering and standby assignments would be carried out at power stations, control centres and the entire service chain. In a statement released today, Dato' Abdul Razak said although the tasks are the daily routine of the employees in their respective service departments, it is their sacrifice for the people who will be happily celebrating Aidilfitri with their families. In the same statement, TNB President and Chief Executive Officer Datuk Bahrindin said the mobilisation of the high number of employees was done after taking into account the critical period of 72 hours starting the day before the beginning of Shawwal. Now, he said this is due to the expected increase in the use of electricity by the public to make final preparations to celebrate the festival. He also revealed that monitoring each state would also be increased ahead of Shawwal on the expectation that people will return early to their hometowns and those who take the opportunity to travel in conjunction with the public holidays. The road users will be allowed to use the emergency lane between Senai and Kulai along the North-South Expressway during the upcoming festive season. Now, Johor Works, Transportation and Infrastructure Committee Chairman Muhammad Fazli Muhammad Saleh said that the 8 kilometres of the emergency lane would be open for vehicle use on the 20th, 21st, 27th and 28th of April to ease the heavy traffic volume expected for the Hari Raya Aidilfitri celebration. He said the stretch from kilometre 19 to kilometre 27 on the expressway is a traffic congestion hotspot as it is also a slope road. The lane will be open according to standard operating procedures and safety aspects.
Dan semua agensi yang terlibat seperti JPJ, APAD, trafik dan juga polis sedia maklum bahawa lorong tu dibuka daripada Senai ke Kulai sebab setiap tahun kawasan ni antara kawasan yang paling jam di dalam lebuh raya Utara Selatan.
He said this to reporters at Infra Desa Johor at South Key Johor Bahru today. Muhammad Fazli said the Senai Desa Route Expressway or the SDE management has been told to study the possibility of also opening up its emergency lane to ease traffic flow. Now, he also advised road users to plan their travels according to Plus Malaysia Berhad Plus proposed travel time advisory for a smoother journey this festive season. The National Entrepreneur Group Economic Fund, or Tekun Nasional, has disbursed 8.3 billion ringgit in microfinancing since its establishment in 1998 until March this year. Deputy Entrepreneur, Development and Cooperatives Minister Saraswati Kandasamy said the funding channel through its 170 branches nationwide had benefited 752,177 entrepreneurs. Saraswati said Tekun Nasional provides not only financing facilities but also advisory services and business networks. She added the government remains committed to helping local entrepreneurs expand their businesses.
Khususnya remaja yang ingin menceburi dalam perniagaan untuk mendapatkan nasihat awal dari segi pengurusan perniagaan dan juga untuk mendapat nasihat dari segi kewangan dan juga dana yang disediakan oleh kerajaan di bawah pelbagai kementerian. Jadi mereka boleh meneruskan dengan perniagaan tanpa sebarang sekatan ataupun halangan di masa-masa depan.
According to Saraswati, Tekun Nasional provides financing from 1,000 to 200,000 ringgit to entrepreneurs who are developing their businesses. Besides Tekun Nasional, Amanah Ikhtiar Malaysia, another agency under the ministry, has also helped over 300,000 female entrepreneurs through 7 loan schemes. Now, the Air Pollutant Index or API readings in areas in Kelantan, Kuala Lumpur and Johor recorded unhealthy air quality as of 4 p.m. today. Now, according to the Air Pollutant Index Management System or APIMS website, Segamat in Johor recorded an unhealthy API reading of 152, whereas Cheras, Kuala Lumpur, also Kota Baru and Tanah Merah, Kelantan recorded an API reading of 106, 107 and 104 respectively. Commenting further on the matter through its website, APIMS said residents of Sekijang, Segamat are also advised to be cautious with the haze outside their homes, as it is bad for health and can cause illnesses. Sekijang had been hit badly by the haze with an API reading of 145 to 150. Yesterday, Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change Minister Rasmi Ahmad said the haze currently affecting the country was caused by peat fires and open burning. He said among the measures being taken were monitoring the vulnerable areas such as peatland, flammable areas and other sites often prone to open burning. Still ahead, 120 arrested, 3.4 million ringgit worth of fireworks seized. Now, the police have arrested 120 individuals and seized fireworks worth nearly 3.4 million ringgit from the 28th of March to the 9th of April. The Royal Malaysia Police Secretary, Dato' Nursia Muhammad Saaduddin, said the cases were being investigated under Section 8 of the Explosives Act 1957, which provides for 7 years imprisonment or a fine of 10,000 ringgit or both if convicted. According to Dato' Nursia, comprehensive and continuous monitoring are being conducted, including on the online sale of fireworks and firecrackers through social media and e-commerce platforms. She also advised the public not to get involved in the illegal sale of fireworks and firecrackers, as stern action will be taken based on the existing laws. At the same time, Dato' Nursia said the police have received 6,526 applications to obtain permits to sell fireworks and firecrackers nationwide in conjunction with this year's Hari Raya celebration. Now, in a statement today, she said of the total, 5,188 applications were approved, while 1,338 were rejected because they failed to meet the requirements as prescribed. Now, a total of 11 chicken sellers at the wholesale and retail level in Johor have had actions taken against them for selling chicken above the ceiling price. In addition, 5 chicken suppliers around Tampoy in Johor Bahru are being investigated and could be charged in court on suspicion of selling chicken to retailers above the control price. Enforcement officers from the State Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry had identified 6 chicken wholesalers and 5 retailers around the Tampoy area that had been selling chickens above the ceiling price.
Tindakan compound manakala pembekal tu kita tengah rancang untuk dituduh di mahkamah lah. Dalam 5 pembekal insya-Allah. Masih dalam siasatan lagi.
He was met after accompanying State Investments, Trade and Consumer Affairs Committee Chairman Lee Teng Han in checking on the price of goods listed under the Festive Season Maximum Price Control Scheme, or the SHMMP, for Hari Raya Aidilfitri at a supermarket in Johor Bahru today. Now, currently, the ceiling price of standard chicken has been set at 9 ringgit 40 cents per kilogram at the retail level and 8 ringgit 10 cents at the wholesale level. Now, commenting further, Lee said one of the retailers had also sold chicken at a price as high as 10 ringgit 50 cents per kilogram, which is way above the ceiling price. The Terengganu Health Department, or JKNT, has issued a total of 222 compound notices against food traders at Ramadan Bazaar statewide from the first day of Ramadan until the 14th of April. Now, these compound notices, totaling 24,800 ringgit, involve various offences, including not wearing an apron, not maintaining personal hygiene, and not attending food handler training as required. Now, according to JKNT, other offences include include employing food handlers without training and typhoid injections, and others which violate the Food Hygiene Regulations 2009 and the Food Act 1983 Act 281. Elaborating further, JKTN said that traders are also reminded to comply with the ban on the operation of Aidilfitri bazaars on the eve of Shawwal for cleaning up purposes. Now, the ban also includes night market operations to ensure that the state is clean during Aidilfitri. Now, the ban was implemented to give the 2,224 public cleaning workers in the state a chance to get enough rest after having to work from day to night to manage garbage throughout Ramadan. A civil servant pleaded not guilty in the Johor Bahru Sessions Court today to 6 counts of using her position to obtain bribes through the quotation of a company in which she has an interest 3 years ago. Nurul Shahira Omar, 31, Administrative Assistant of Clerical and Operations at the Mersing Department of Irrigation and Drainage, or JPS, was charged with submitting the company's quotation totaling 13,480 ringgit 20 cent through the market research form documents to implement various purposes. According to the facts of the case, Nurul Shahira, as an individual who has an interest in Amir Baraka Enterprise, was accused of supplying Nissan vehicle spare parts, office equipment spare parts, and the department's vehicle repairs. She was also charged with carrying out the maintenance of broadcasting and communication equipment, the supply of spare parts for electrical and electronic equipment, and the maintenance of passenger vehicles. She was alleged to have committed these offences between August and November 2020 at the Mersing JPS office. Now, all offences were framed under Section 23, subsection 1 of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) Act 2009 and punishable under Section 24, subsection 1 of the same law. It provides for imprisonment of up to 20 years and a fine of not less than 5 times the value of the bribe, or 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher upon conviction. Judge Dato Ahmad Kamal Arifin Ismail allowed the accused a bail of 7,000 ringgit for all charges in one local surety and ordered her to surrender her passport to the court as well as to report at the MACC office once a month. The court set 16th of May for remention of the case. At least 56 civilians killed in Sudan clashes. That and more coming up in our foreign segment. Indonesian military today said one of its personnel was killed in a crossfire with separatist rebels in the Papua region. The exchange of fire happened when troops were combing near a location where they believed a New Zealand pilot is being held. Military spokesperson Julius Wijojono said in a news conference in the Indonesian capital, Jakarta.
Sini mencoba untuk menyisir mendekati posisi dari para penyandera. Kemudian ada serangan dari mereka, satu terjatuh di kedalaman 50 meter dan ketika mencoba untuk menolong mendapatkan serangan ulang. Kondisi lainnya masih dalam tahap pendalaman.
Elaborating further on the matter, Wijojono added that the weather condition is the biggest hindrance to the operation to rescue the pilot who was kidnapped by the rebels in February this year. Now, earlier, a spokesperson from the West Papua National Liberation Army, or the TPNPB, said they have killed 9 army personnel after Jakarta did not respond to a request for negotiations. A low-level battle for independence from Indonesia has continued for decades in the remote and resource-rich Papua region, with analysts saying the conflict between armed rebels and security forces had intensified significantly in recent years. Now, fighting in the Sudanese capital raged into the early hours of today after a day of deadly battles between paramilitaries and the regular army that left at least 56 people dead and nearly 600 wounded. Now, explosions and gunfire rang out on the deserted streets of Khartoum, according to witnesses, after the paramilitary said they were in control of the presidential palace, Khartoum airport and other vital facilities. The army denied the claims, and in a statement late Saturday, the Sudanese Air Force urged people to stay indoors as it continued airstrikes against bases of the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, or the RSF. Fighter jets were earlier seen flying overhead. Windows rattled and apartment buildings shook in many parts of Khartoum during the clashes, according to AFP correspondents, with explosions heard early Sunday. The committee said it had counted around 600 wounded, including some among security forces, and that many casualties could not be transferred to hospitals due to difficulties in moving during the clashes. Saudi Arabia's flag carrier Saudia said earlier one of its planes with passengers and crew aboard waiting for departure was exposed to gunfire damage. The violence erupted after weeks of deepening tensions between military leader Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and his deputy, paramilitary commander Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, over the planned integration of Daglo's RSF into the regular army. The integration was a key element of talks to finalize a deal that would return the country to civilian rule and end the political economic crisis sparked by the military's 2021 coup. The G7 pledged today to quit fossil fuels faster and urged other countries to follow suit, but failed to agree to any new deadlines on ending polluting power sources like coal. Now, the language reflects the depth of disagreements among the allies on the balance between climate action and energy security, with host Japan leading a pushback against the most ambitious proposals discussed. After 2 days of talks in the northern city of Sapporo, the bloc's climate and environment minister vowed to accelerate the phase-out of unabated fossil fuels so as to achieve net zero in energy systems by 2050 at the latest, and call on others to join them in taking the same action. But they offered no new deadlines beyond last year's G7 pledge to largely end fossil fuel use in their electricity sectors by 2035. The bloc, however, stopped short of endorsing Japan's strategy of burning hydrogen and ammonia alongside fossil fuels to reduce emissions. Now, attempts to commit to halve the emission from vehicles in the G7 by 2035 also floundered, but the group did pledge for the first time to end new plastic pollution by 2040. They also urged a peak in global greenhouse emissions by 2025 at the latest. Now, experts say this language is aimed at the world's largest carbon emitter, China, which is targeting a peak in its emissions by 2030. Coming up in sport, Tang Jie, Yi-Wei Sterling form hots up race in national mixed doubles. Now, the recent improved performance of Chen Tangjie and To Yi-Wei is a positive sign for the national mixed doubles category as it stirs up fierce competition for other pairs to up their level of play by a notch. Former national mixed doubles player Goh Liu Ying feels that it is very productive now that Malaysia has several national mixed pairs capable of delivering consistent performances when they are on court. Tang Jie Yi-Wei, who were newly paired last November and ranked 22nd in the world, created a sensation by winning the New Orleans Masters badminton tournament last Sunday, with the previous prestige of capturing the title in the 2022 Bangladesh International Challenge. Meanwhile, two national professional mixed doubles, Goh Sun Huat and Siobhan Lai, are ranked 8th in the world, followed by Tan Kian Ming and Lai Pei Jing, ranked world 13th, where both players are listed in the Road to Goal or RTG project. Now, the RTG project, introduced by the Ministry of Youth and Sports or KBS last month, is a national project with the objective of coordinating efforts in the country's hunt for its maiden gold medal at the Olympic Games covering the Paris 2024 and Los Angeles 2028 editions.
Performance all the way through the week. An incredible weekend.
We now take a look at some of the FA Cup highlights where Selangor FC and Penang FC checked into the last 8 in style. Selangor FC lived up to expectations by cruising into the last 8 of the 2023 FA Cup competition with a 4-0 trouncing of Sri Pahang FC at the Petaling Jaya City Council or MBPJ Stadium in Petaling Jaya. Now, the Red Giants, however, had to wait until the 41st minute to break the deadlock when midfielder Muhammad Mukairi Ajmal Mahadi's pile driver from outside the box beat Pahang custodian Muhammad Izam Tarmizi. Muhammad Mukairi then noticed his brace to make it 2-0 for Selangor in the 58th minute before striker Muhammad Faisal Abdul Halim lashed onto a mix-up in the Pahang penalty box to squeeze in goal number 3. The Red Giants wrapped up the proceedings with goal number 4 through skipper Brandon Gunn, who slammed home a stiff grounder after receiving a pass from Yohandri Orozco. In Seremban, hosts Negeri Sembilan FC checked into the last 8 with a 2-0 win over PIB Shah Alam FC at the Tuanku Abdul Rahman Stadium in Paroi. Now, Negeri Sembilan got their goals through a header by Anselmo Aruda da Silva, 51st minute, and Muhammad Sharil Fikri Muhammad Fauzi, 80th minute. Moving on to Sarawak, visitors Penang FC trounced Kuching FC 4-0 at the State Stadium in Kuching to stroll into the quarterfinals. Now, Penang's goals came courtesy of Lebanese import Hassan Saad, 10th minute, Adriano Narcisco, 48th minute, Muhammad Hadin Azman, 65th minute, and Giovanni Gomez in injury time. In Kota Kinabalu, home team Sabah also defeated Kelantan United FC 2-0 to book their spot in the quarterfinals. The Sabah opened the scoring in the 13th minute through Badrul Bakhtia before Stuart Wilkin added the second in the 59th minute. In the quarterfinals to be played on the 27th and the 28th of May, defending champions Johor Darul Takzim or JDT will take on Penang FC. Terengganu FC will face Kelantan FC, Sabah FC will meet Kuala Lumpur KL City FC, and Selangor FC will clash against Negeri Sembilan FC. Now, Bayern Munich conceded a 71st minute free kick to draw 1-1 at home against Hoffenheim at the end of a turbulent week for the champions, but they stayed 2 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga with 6 games a minute later only for his effort to be ruled offside. And that's it for Malaysia Tonight. A reminder of our top story, Agro Madani sales offering items at a cheaper price with discounts. I'm Jessica Lee. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.